9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's get into the TipTut zone.
Hello everyone, welcome. Hope you can hear me okay. Hope it's not too quiet, too loud in comparison to our lo-fi. It's going to be a bit of a quiet one today, I think, because it's New Year's Eve. But I didn't really fancy doing any work. So I figured, why not just live stream some of the animations I'm working on instead of working. So welcome. Hey Dan, hey Ali, hey Shalea. Dan and Ali, thanks for being members. Ali, look at that lovely blue little icon you got next to your name, mate. Doesn't that make you feel like a special boy? I think it's going to be pretty chill today because of the aforementioned New Year's Eve. But we animated this snake fighting this mouse last time. So we're going to continue with that today. I think I just have a little bit of line work left to do on this snake. Yeah, a few frames on the snake. And then we'll move on to the mouse. And then that'll be it for today. Maybe I'll get to the background. Who knows? We shall see. In the meantime, though, we've got our backgrounds. We can single out this one layer here. We've got our brush ready. I think we're all good. Can zoom in a little bit. Yeah, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 frames of the snake to do. Easy mode. We'll finish this snake in no time at all. Just need a bit of a thicker brush. There we go. One thing we probably should do is turn on onion skin, though. So that we can at least see what on earth we've been doing with the previous frames. I had an idea of doing a D&D adventure set in the world of Mouse Guard, which I think could be really cool, but for a little bit of an older audience than Mouse Guard is intended for. Essentially, it's like Lord of the Rings, but for mice. Pretty much. So I thought that might be fun. Gert, hello, welcome to the live stream. Alexa, hey, how's it going? Yeah, like I said, probably going to be a bit of a quiet one today. But that's alright. I'm just here to chill out anyway. Can I leave that on? Or is the green going to get way too distracting? Will it be alright when I think it'll be alright when I get to here. Let's leave it off for now because I can only think about one thing at once. As Forrest Gump says, I'm not a smart man. So a few frames left of this snake, then we'll do the mouse, and if there's time today, we'll do the background. Although I'm not sure there will be. So I might just do that as a video instead. And talk a little bit about how I put together my backgrounds for my animations and things like that. Because next week will be the last week of Intro to Adobe Animate 2021 series that's been on the channel. It's taken up pretty much all of December, a little bit of November, and a tiny bit of January. But anybody that makes their way through the whole series will be incredibly well equipped to start the world of Animate. So I'm pretty proud of the little series that we've put together there. Hey Kadada, what's up, man? Welcome to the live stream, and thank you so much for being a member, you lovely boy. I think that's that frame. Yes, indeed. Although I'm not happy with that bit there. What's everyone's plans for New Year's then? We're not allowed out in England, so we're staying inside, getting drunk. Playing board games, I think. Pretty sure that's the plan. You baked cookies, nice. You're in a hurry and still didn't make it in time. You've missed absolutely nothing. You've missed me setting up and drawing a single frame of a snake. So I wouldn't panic. I wouldn't panic at all. I'm basically using these snake frames as a warm-up anyway, so that by the time I come to drawing the mouse, I'm all warmed up and my brush strokes are a little bit better. You don't like wine? Nothing wrong with that. Although I prefer red. We made mulled wine the other day, that was really nice. What's the difference between those two brushes? Sorry, which two brushes? I'm only using one brush. The blue outline is the rough that I drew on another layer. And now I am just doing the cleanup, essentially. Which is like the neat pass, but I'm only using a single brush. Just got my eraser and my standard flash fluid brush, and that's it. Nothing special going on. So this is the impact point, which is why his body's getting all scrunched up. Hopefully it'll come across well in the finished thing. But since we've only got 3 frames left, it's kind of too late to worry about any of that. You're going to work on your video game for New Year's. What game are you making? That sounds fun. Tell me about it. I love hearing people's passion projects. I'd love to make a video game one day. When I was younger, I had dreams of making Flash games, but obviously Flash is dead now. So probably good that I didn't pursue that. Also, I was only ever really interested in the artwork side of it, and I just wasn't very good when I was younger. Like most of us aren't. So it probably would have just evolved into making Stickman fight games, which have a very limited audience of basically just people that go onto Newgrounds. Now, one thing I need to make sure is on the last frame that it's pretty accurate to the first frame, which seems it will be if I follow that outline, so that is what we will try and do. So we get that nice perfect loop. Shalea says, the one you see in the one with the circle behind it in the tool palette. Oh, classic brush, fluid brush. You basically get more tapering options and things like that. So if I've got the classic brush here, you just get size and smoothing. But on the fluid brush, you get all these things like stabilizer, roundness, angle, taper. For some projects I use a fluid brush, for most of them I use the classic brush because it's just the way that I prefer to work because I've worked it for so long. I think that's that frame. Nice. Last 2 frames of the snake then. And we'll fill him in with a quick bit of colour because why not? And then we'll be onto the mouse. And next week, I'm super excited about this, but next week I'm starting a Game Grumps Animated on stream, which is a Let's Play channel that they accept uploads of animations and animators to their channel. So I've been working on one for a little while. I just started it. And I like how it's going, so I think that'll be the focus for next year's live streams, at least for the start of the year. Because I think that'll be fun to work on. And people would seem to like the last comedy thing that I worked on live as well, so I figure why not keep that train rolling. I've actually got it open here, actually I can show you a little bit of it. Please zoom out for the timeline a bit there. Here's the bit I've done so far.
You're saying it'd be cool if I just started getting weird with it. Yeah, if you just like walked into a room and you were like, I'm sorry, do you mind if I just...
So I've done like all the basic sketches for the whole outline of everything. But I'd love to finish it on stream. And then possibly even get it up on the channel, which would be fucking amazing. Yassine Shihab says, how do I do reflections? Well, what I've done for this one is duplicated the symbol, lowered the opacity and just swapped it out. Easy as that. You'll see it better once we've finished drawing in all the ink and I hide the rough frame. But if you animate your segment inside a symbol, then you can just reuse that symbol however you want. Use the same animation and apply effects to it to get your reflection, essentially. Saves you animating it twice. Because we all know how long it bloody takes to animate, so why the hell would you make it more difficult for yourself? Especially if you're a one-man team. And especially if you don't have to answer to anyone. Okay, last few strokes. Awesome, there we go. That is the snake done. What we will do is we'll hide our guide layer and I'll just choose a nice... What colour should the snake be? If the background's going to be mostly green and that lot, it should be like a orangey brown maybe. Maybe something like that color. Does that look good for a snake? No, it looks too much like a dangus if we do that color, doesn't it, frankly? So let's have him be a danger noodle. Red? Is red a good idea? No, not red. Red looks rubbish. Let's have him be... Uh-oh, something's frozen. Oh no, it hasn't. It's just opened up the color window. Thank God for that. I think he needs to be green, like a yellowish green. Just for now. For now, that'll do. And we can sample that layer. Ooh, it's not going to close. Close small gaps, is that going to work? Yeah, nice. I thought I'd been good. But obviously not. Obviously I hadn't been as good as I thought with closing up my gaps. Nice. Whilst we're here, have I got a nice colour palette actually? Not really. I've got not really any that I want to use for this. So let's just grab a pink for his tongue. I don't know if snakes' tongues are actually pink, but this one's is. And we'll do an off-white for his fangs. Just so I can actually see. These colours, I'll replace them probably later on. But it just makes everything so much easier if you can actually see what you're working with. Yeah, he's coming at you. Nice. So there we've got our snake. Push. Bosh. Nice. And now you can see how the reflection will work. If we go to our publish settings, we can uncheck include hidden layers, which will get rid of our guideline there. Crash. Nice. Let's pop him on a loop for a second. What's that? Center frame. Animation Station. Hello. Welcome to the live stream. Sorry, I haven't looked at chat in a while because it's been a bit quiet. Crying Cat. Hello. Welcome to the live stream. I'm sorry that you're crying. Crying Cat. Go south. I like brown. Don't be rude. Chris Remitter, welcome to the live stream. How's it going? I think this is pretty good. Pretty good with our snake here. I think it's time to move on to the mouse, don't you, my friends? So I'm going to grab our layer, and someone taught me this. Right click, convert layers to symbol, mouse, graphic, bosh. There you go. That's all you need to do. How fantastic is that? Let's make a new couple of layers. Call it mouse underscore mask. And this one you call it mouse underscore shadow. This is how you do the mask. This is how you do the reflection. So you copy the mouse, paste it on... I've called it shadow, but it's not a shadow, it's a reflection. I'm going to fix that. I'll just call it ref. Mouse underscore ref. Snake underscore ref. So on that layer now, we've got this mouse that I can scale and squish it a little bit, like so. Okay. And then on the mask layer, we just take our brush, which I'll do in black to make it wicked easy. going to show frames so you can zoom in. Now at this point, the puddle might change shape slightly, but that's not really an issue. You just paint out the mask that you want. Right click, make it a mask layer. The ref will automatically go underneath it and it will automatically lock it, and then you get your nice couples here. If you unlock it, it won't work anymore, but it does allow you to edit it. And for example, go here and reduce the opacity down to something like 40%. Then when you lock it up again, he's going to be slightly faded. And good thing is, now if I go inside my mouse symbol, anything I do in here will be done in the other bit as well. So that's it. You didn't mean to be rude. It sounded like you were being rude, Mr. Station, and we don't do rudeness here on my live stream. Thank you very much. So now I just need to go inside here, bish bash bosh, and do the line work. We've got the same line work as we had for the others because it's in a perfect loop. So keyframe every other frame, add an extra one there, go to my brush, which should already be the brush, and you can already see actually it's going to update live in the reflection, so that's good. Shashank Vij Wakama. Wow, what a name. Hi, how are you? Please tell me what the first step to learn animation, keeping software aside. The first step to learning animation is learning how things move in the real world, and understanding that good animation, classically good animation, replicates that. Observation is the first step to animation, I would say. And then go learn some software. So I think I'm going to take this one step at a time. So that I don't overwhelm myself. You know? So we'll go through and we'll just do like all the shields, for example. And then come back through and do all the other bits. And then come back through and do all the other bits and all the other bits. And that way, it should, theoretically, help me not cock it up so much. Because I'm only focusing on one object at a time. I think I want to add some like slats to the back of this shield, making sure none of them connect so that I can easily fill it in, and making sure that because of the sketches we do maintain a consistent size as well. Because the last thing we want is our poor guy's shield to shrink as he's fighting this massive snake. So we'll make sure we're doing our best there. Also, I didn't want a brown snake because the mouse is going to be brown, right? So I think that would be altogether too much brown. And there might be parts of this that I have to erase in a minute, but it gives me a good starting point. As he whips around, so. Oh, I hate being left-handed. You always cover yourself up. And it's grown a little bit here, but that's okay because it's kind of squash and stretch. God, that's getting confusing to see, isn't it? What if I just lock my underground layer there? Because I'm not really interested in the sketch, I suppose, now. I'm mostly interested in the actual line work, because the sketch was just there to inform this line work, so I don't need to see the onion skin on the sketch. I don't think that mouse is going to survive. Of course he is. He's badass. He's a fucking big boy. Just America, welcome to the live stream. Fart too long. Welcome to the live stream. How's it going? God, some of your guys' names have fucking cracked me up. Well done. Happy to help, Shashank. Happy to help. Anish Jane, do you need good drawing skills for animation? Yes and no. Depends on what type of animation you want to do. I don't consider my drawing skills good. I consider them like good enough. But that's why I'm learning to get better. If you want to do this kind of animation, then yeah, you need to know how to draw a little bit. But there's plenty of types of animation where that's not necessary at all. It helps, I'm sure. But is it like mandatory? Hell no. Depends what your goals are. Alright, his shield definitely shrinks a bit there, so let's make sure we compensate for that. And he's whipping it around here so we can stretch it and squash it a little bit. Let's turn that loop up. That looks pretty good, I think. That shield. Bosh. 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 Right, I'm going to go back through and do the head now, I believe. That'll be next. One more. How do I come up with a story? I usually don't. Usually a client tells me what the story is. I do like client animation. Or find things that inspire me. This one came from a comic book that I read. And I liked that. So I figured, hey, why the hell not do something like that? My dog is currently crawling underneath the coffee table in order to scratch her back. What are you doing, Toph? Baby. You're so weird. Yeah, Animation Station, you're bang on. South Park doesn't have great artistry. They just cut stuff out of paper. There you go. Job done. Very, very good point. And good example. I think does our mouse need like a little hairdo, or is that just gonna make him look too much like a cool dude? He definitely needs a nick out of his ear though, doesn't he? Regardless. And we'll give him something like that for his head. That looks alright, let's do that. I kind of want the ears to move behind the head, to be dragged by the head's movement. So I'm actually going to just do the head movement first, I think, and then come back around. Or should I just... No, like the rough I've done is pretty good actually, isn't it? So let's stick with the rough. Let's stick with the rough. I can always come back and change it if I don't like it. I know I was just quite lax on the ears when I did the rough, so I definitely don't want that to break. What is up with this pen today? Jeez Louise, come on. There we go. It's good there. So all I want him to do is just raise his jaw a little bit. Maybe Sharma, what's up, my man? Welcome to the live stream. Thank you ever so much for being such a dedicated member. And it's TipTut. I can grab her to say hello if you guys like. Would you like that? Say hello to old TipTut. Okay, so here the ears start coming down in order to prepare for the swing. So we need to make sure that's reflected in our neat line work. The chat is really behind. Yeah, I think it's about 30 seconds or so. Also, it's low numbers, so YouTube gives you worse server bandwidth, I'm pretty sure. So you need to make sure that if he's moving his head quickly, like he does in this frame, that all of the floppy bits are kind of dragged. For example, his ears here might still be pointed up that way, even as his snout begins to turn, if that makes sense. Same with this ear, right? Like you just have it dragging behind like that. Because he's moving his head real quick. Then he starts to raise his snout here, which means his little spiky do is probably going to actually be in like the center of his head now, because his snout's going to come around like this. We might even see a little bit of his eyes, so we just literally drag these ears around. And we'd have to touch up just the back of his head here. That. I'm going to still have this ear dragged more than it is in the rough, but not by too much. And I'll just see if I can put in a couple of his little eyes there. Like that. And then they start to flatten. Yeah, that's nice. Okay. Just trying to make sure that I don't alter the shape of his skull too much. I know he's like a bit of a bag of flour character, but I don't want him to start just warping all over the place. Just because my sketches were rough, you know. Let's have a look at what we got so far. Yeah, that looks good. Close off that snout there. And then there's what, one more frame of reel back, so that's fine. Most people are busy for New Year's celebrations. Yeah, I didn't expect a lot of viewers on this stream. It was just going to be a nice little chill one. Just because I didn't really fancy doing any editing or video work or anything today. So I figured, why not use the luxury that I have, which is being able to choose what I do, to do something that I'll enjoy for New Year's Eve. So at this point, I'm going to have his hair start to curl upwards because he's starting to move back forwards for the strike. So I'll just have his eyes like so. We'll close off that bit of snout there because now, gosh, he's rushing forward, so we can have some cool stuff where like the ears, sorry, like really drag back. And we really squash and stretch the ears. He's flattening them because that's what they do when they're worried. And we'll have the hair being pulled back, and he's raising his snout in a brave attempt to fend off the snake. And we'll have his head tilt back like that too. So now we've got 3 quick frames. 1, 2, 3, where he does a lot of movement. So we'll try and maintain that arc on the ears. But essentially, he is going to have a big old head turn there. Like that. Srinu Alla, welcome to the live stream. How's it going? Ivali FBI agent, welcome to the live stream. Hope you're doing well. Don't worry, you haven't missed much. Apart from this song that just seems to whine on, I think we'll skip this one, shall we? I don't know why I just don't just remove it from the playlist, you know. Oh, I didn't draw his spiky hair, which would still be getting pulled back. Especially around here. Bush, 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 bush. Like that. It's a bit distracting on these frames because they're on ones. So it makes it a little bit harder to see where we're going with it. Ooh, does that look alright? I think that looks okay. And then at this point the hair is going to start to splush back the other way, so we'll have it something like that. And there's not much movement in the snout. So we can just have his head held down like that. And just continue that momentum. For this next remaining frame. Continue that forward momentum on the ears. As he ducks his little head. And if you hold the snout in the same place, it should make it look fairly seamless. We shall see. Jay Skills, I wish you all the best intentions and great success to your new plans for 2021. I believe that you'll be able to reach another milestone of YouTube, 1 million subs. Oh, in a year? I don't think so. But that's very, very kind of you to say that. Thank you so much. It would be incredible if we did, but man, that's That's a lot of subs. Who knows? It's been going a little bit better since I've started doing it full time. We found a little bit more of a niche with our animations, which is good. I'd like to get back into doing a bit more motion graphic stuff, as well as animation. I don't want to alienate my older audience, but I definitely want to do more animation. I find it so interesting. You guys seem to want to watch that. You know, so why wouldn't I? And also I think it attracts more of a dedicated crowd a little bit, which is nice. So we've got the head starting to turn back now into its original position. So I think what we'll do is we'll help guide these tufts of hair back by just positioning them a bit higher up. But we'll definitely have the ears start to perk up a bit more. Let's do it from the front, probably makes more sense. But we can have the ears perk up a bit more as he raises his head. We've got the long old snout. Being dragged up. Starting to perk up again with the ears, so we'll hide that shield because it's in front. Like that. And then the last frame should bring us back around as he whips his head around. Loads. So there's loads of movement in this frame, but it's not too bad actually. Because it does move quite quickly, which is good. The rest of the body moves quickly too. And we ascertained that that worked fine in our roughs, so we should be okay. We're getting away with it. Let's have a look. Looks good, huh? I think. I like the shield a lot. The shield's nice. It gives a nice arc motion to it all. YouTubey, hello, welcome to the live stream. Big fan of yours, thank you. It's very kind. Glad you like my content. Yeah, I think we're good. We'll move on to the body and the sword arm. Should we do the sword arms first? Let's do the arms first, yeah. Let's do the shield arm. And like that section of the body. We'll do that first. But I think we'll take a quick break and I'll grab a cup of tea. And then we'll come back and we'll do all the arms and stuff in a minute. That's probably a good idea. I'll just finish up this leg while I'm in the groove. Yeah, that looks good. Cool. All right, I'm going to make a quick cup of tea and then we'll be back to finish off this mouse. Little wooden buckler, rapier slashing. Yeah, he's a good boy. He's protecting his homestead from the big green snake. Great. All right, I'm going to make a cup of tea. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. See you in a bit. Hello, we're back. I had my tea. Got some nice herbal tea for Christmas. So I'm going to be brewing up loads of that coming into the new year. Stick our music on, eh? Oh, dearie me. Maybe Sharma says, best animations of 2020. Do you have any favourites? Oh, yes. Yotam Peril released a new one. Always my favourite. I really loved Soul. I watched Soul. It had some great 2D animation in it. Coupled with all the 3D stuff, but the 2D stuff was brilliant. The way they did all of the auditors and stuff in the Soul realm in that film was really good. Yes, Mr. Beast did get a shitload of subs, but he does entertainment, not education. And education on YouTube is not great. YouTube doesn't love it because people don't watch like all of the video. They'll watch a little bit of the video, get what they need, and then leave again. And YouTube's like, nah, fuck that. Why the hell would we support that? We're a bunch of assholes. So you don't get as much push from YouTube because of something called early abandonment, which is when people leave your videos early. Which is kind of bullshit, right? Because I'm doing a service that people find that service and they're like, okay, yep, got exactly what I needed, thank you very much. And according to YouTube, that's not a good thing. According to YouTube, I should waste their time by making longer videos that don't solve their problems as quickly or as efficiently. But hey ho, Lord forbid I cost YouTube some revenue. So the key thing here is that his feet need to stay rooted to make him have a believable weight, but his body will be stretching around that as he moves with the weight of the sword. So like his body can stretch, but his feet should remain fairly planted. There'll be times when they move. And there'll be times when they shift, but for the most part, they should be fairly well placed. Because how are you going to fight a snake if you're slip sliding all over the shop? You know? You feel me? You have your solid paws on the ground. Maybe Sharma says, wow, I still have to watch it. I heard a lot of good reviews about Soul. Also, Croods 2 was a great movie this year. I haven't watched that one. I didn't even know that came out. There's a lot of good motion graphic stuff this year that I liked. Maybe I'll put a little video together. Top whatevers from whatevers. TipTuts. TipTops 2020. That'll probably look better if it's just filled in, right? That's another thing with animation. Like, yeah, probably his body should like follow that curve, but it's going to leave a hole in the character. You want a stronger silhouette, so you can push the realism to fit your intention. If that makes sense. See, here we're in a conundrum because I'm actually working on the other leg now. But that's alright. Technically it's the same arm. See, here his leg is going to shift back with each frame because he's swinging into it, you know. And then it'll find a place where it settles. And all will be right with the world. For example, if we made it settle like here-ish, we could probably bring it back round. And because we haven't done those at the start yet, I guess it doesn't actually really matter. We shall see. These ones will almost certainly begin to slip back. As the body moves around, because here there's such a significant change. I don't think it matters too much if it doesn't loop perfectly, you know, because there is nothing to loop because the body is shifting in position. So as long as we make this transition back look good, then what's the concern? And if we really want to get finicky with it, you could do something like this and just copy that, paste it in place on the first frame here, and we know that that's just moving over a little bit. So yep, that's pretty accurate. Is that accurate enough to our sketch? Yep, pretty much. So we just draw in using our accurate sketch. And voila. Gosh, looks good, eh? Nearly there, just got to draw the other arm and the sword and the tail, and that's it. Your drawing feels so nostalgic. Oh, thank you. That's a compliment. I love nostalgia. Let's do the other side of the body. Trying to make this as easy as possible to color later on as well, so I'm trying not to do too much detail. Now, should this have a crossbar or should it be like a rapier? I've drawn it like a rapier, a crossbar, sorry. But maybe it needs like a circle rapier protector. Nah, I quite like the crossbar. Answered my own question there. Nice. This bit we're just going to try and get, I think, as close to a trace back as we can. Points to anyone who remembers what a trace back is. We're just going to try and get it as accurate as possible to the previous frame. You're tracing it, hence trace back. We'll make it a bit of a pointy sword, as if it was like a little bit like a nail, maybe. I think that's a nice idea. And I'm specifically leaving the tail for last because that's going to be completely reactive based on the body movements. So if we get the body movements right, the tail should be pretty easy to draw. Nice. Now we've actually got some animation in here. He's starting to move. It does get boring drawing trace backs every now and then. just over and over again. Welcome to all the new viewers, by the way. Welcome to the live stream. I'm drawing a mouse fighting a snake. I hope you guys like it. Okay, so he started to raise his sword a little bit here. Maybe he'd start coming up onto his toes. So he can raise that back foot maybe. Either way, it would definitely have the arm start swinging out more. He'd get his sword arm into swinging position. And for the first time we can pretty much see all of the pommel and the true length of the sword, which I think I will make a little bit like a nail, you know, as if it's just going straight up to a point. I think that'll look good. Okay, so here pretty much just raising it again, getting ready to twist his hand, I think, to swing down. Raising his body weight up so the foot comes up to compensate. Extending the pommel. Again, most of the sword's still hidden. Maybe we could have a teeny bit poking out the top there. As it brings it around, yeah, bam. So we make the sword just ever so slightly longer than his arm. Perfect. Nice easing frame here. As we just rotate his hand a little bit to bring the sword into alignment. And then on the next frame, I think it moves into the backswing. So it'll just kind of be like that. Nice. Let's have a look. Getting there. Getting there indeed. A few more frames. So this one he's going to start to lean his hand back, which is good for us because it makes it easy to draw. Like this. The sword pommel becomes straight. And the sword itself just swings out like that. Got the arm. And now the back foot really starts to move. And we can see where our next frame is with it. So what you do is you just draw it somewhere in the middle. And then he slides his foot back. There you go. Partianel, yes, thank you, Maybe Sharma. Yes, Adobe Animate CC. There we go. Didn't even have to answer that one. Maybe Sharma's on the job. My boy, Maybe Sharma. He's got my back because I get all caught up in the drawing and find it hard to answer questions. Now, here is the true question. Do I add in a little action line? I think the answer is yes, isn't it? The answer is hell yeah, we added in an action line. This is a cartoon. What's the point of making cartoons if you're not going to have action lines? That looks pretty banging. And again here, yes, the shield would technically extend past there, but it looks like I've just fucked up the line on the sword, so just erase it, keep it neat. We're going to need to do the other leg now, working on the other leg, so his body's going to be hunched over, maybe a little bit of build up of fat or something there. And we want his foot to slide back a little bit, but not too much, because I don't think we've got anything else for the rest here, which we don't. So again, what you do is we just copy this bit, paste it in place on the last frame so that we know that's where we have to end up, but then you just work towards that. The other layer still locked? It is, yes. Ah, my tea should be brewed by now. My lovely gift I got last year, can you see that? Cast iron teapot. Oh, yeah. Oh, I measured it out perfectly as well. Happy New Year. Oh, that's nice. Oh, yes. Cool, next frame. Bosh. Just a further lean in. So we will just have his body, well, his body's like proper twisted round, so he'd definitely be leaning back more, which means his front leg will be stretched out more because we want to maintain a similar position for it, but his arm would be up where we put it in the sketch. Make sure to add the hand, the pommel behind it, the cross guard. And then, of course, making sure that the sword doesn't seem like it's shrunk. So you extend it a good distance. Like that. And then you can either lasso or erase the center section. And then that way we're just left with the sword. Oops, almost forgot that tiny bit at the end there. Nice. Next frame is just another very similar settling frame. It was a lovely gift, maybe Shama. It was, wasn't it? Thank you. From my my wife's mother. Cast iron teapots, I'm telling you. Nothing quite like them for brewing tea. Okay, so for this, I think I'm just gonna copy this arm, but just position him slightly higher up, because we don't want it looking too different, because it's supposed to just be a settling frame. So that's exactly what we'll do. We'll have the sword settle. Like that. And then hopefully the next one is, yeah, the next one there is the last settling frame, because it goes back onto 2s down here in the timeline, so we can like reduce the speed out of that section. And it also makes it a little bit easier to see the fucking onion skin, essentially, which is good, because man, does it get confusing quickly when you're animating on ones. I could adjust my onion skin to change that, but it feels like it's more an effort than it's worth. Here we kind of want the curve in the sword to be gone because it's finished its swing. So we'll just do that. Cool, looks pretty good. Let's center up. A few more frames. And they're all, or at least they all should be, a bit different because here isn't actually a settling frame. Here he's curving his sword back up to swing it back down again. So this is actually a completely different frame. And we can start thinning out his foot again as well because it got a bit fat over the course of these few frames, just by accident. Because I wasn't paying close attention. So we'll just start to thin him out a bit, and then by the time it reaches the wrist, it should be okay. So here his arm's going to actually curve down more like this. So whilst yes, it looks like it's a similar position, it's actually changing direction for the upswing. So there'll actually be significant change of angle on the sword here. So make sure that's reflected in the blade. Before he starts to bring it back around. And then it's just the tail. And that'll be fun to do. So here I really want to emphasize the curve in the arm and the sword. So we'll push it even further by just spinning it out. Adding a bit of a curve to the pommel. And a massive, like, see what that looks like in motion. Yeah, that looks good. Something like that with a big curved blade that follows the path and is squashed and stretched to the extreme. And it would be in front of the shield, right? Yes, it would still be in front of the shield. Like that. So yes, it looks silly in static, but when you look at it in motion, it whips around nicely. So here we've now got our green and red, so we've just got to draw the body somewhere between that. So we'll start adding in the lump of his thigh muscle again. And bringing up that connection between the green and the red. Ready for the last frame. Where it's difficult here because it's essentially like this. But I don't know how that's going to look. Wow, answer is really good. Okay, great. Don't worry at all. So all we've got to worry about is filling out his body. So we'll just do like a transitionary movement of the thigh there. And bring it up here. Bop, bop. There we go. And look at it. Bosh. 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 That looks absolutely banging. I'm going to add the tail on a separate layer because otherwise it's going to make colouring this thing really freaking hard. So let's keyframe every other frame. Let's add in an additional keyframe there. And we will just wing this one, I think. In fact, we'll wing it so much, I'm going to turn off this guy. Stick it on his butt. And we're just going to go for it. Excuse me while I don't talk for this section. It's hard to do flowing stuff whilst you're chatting about other bits. That's going to be like that, I think. Ready? Oh yeah. Looks alright. Kadala, thank you so much for stopping by. I really appreciate it. Happy New Year. Have a lovely time. And thank you for coming. Appreciate it. Let's see what he looks like in situ by adding a little bit of colour to our boy here. Thank you very much, Kadala. I'll see you next time. Lots of love. Bye. Actually, before we colour the mouse, let's see if we can't colour this snake a little bit better. So we have a colour palette. We have a series of colour palettes in our swatch window. If I open up my swatches, I've got this phone swipe colour palette. I've got this phone swipe here. Can you load colours, like add colours? It's got CLR, but let's see if it'll work with gigantic colours V2. Yeah, no, it doesn't work. CLR, ACT, or GIF. Is the phone swipe one gonna work well? Probably not. It might do combine with phone swipe char though. Does this green look any nicer? No, not really. It looks too cartoony, doesn't it? Fuck it, let's just try and do it. I can fix the colours later on. It doesn't really matter. Let's start off with the green from our snake. Okay, start off with the green. Go inside our mousey boy. Okay, grab our first layer here. Grab our green. See if we can't make a nice mousy brown out of it. Does that look good? Like a nice little boop. I think it needs to be a bit paler. Mice are more like that, aren't they? Like field mice. Yeah, that looks good. Flow of the mouse is great. Thank you so much, Maybe Shama. Appreciate that. Very kind. Oh, and I love it when I draw well so that I can just fill in the entire mouse with a single click. And then you cock it up on one of the later frames and you've got to start clicking a load of times and then you hate yourself forever. Oh, there's something open there. Let's see if we can't cheat. Oh, cheat. Oh, no. Close large gaps. Wow, where's the gap? Am I an idiot? There's no gap there, is there? Fill. Paint bucket. Bosh. Yeah, there's no gap at all. What the heck? Where's my gap? Go to paint behind. Duck all the corners. Oh, it's up here. It's up here near the ear. You silly bugger. Gosh, there we go. And then top and tail him. And I've done it again somewhere, probably near the hair. There. Nice. And he'll need a pommel. Or at least a hand on the sword. So let's do the pommel because don't want too much brown, do you? Nice, looks good. Cool, cool. So we need a colour for the shield. I think a nice darker brown for the body. Unless it's going to be painted, and we can give him like a painted blue shield. I think that suits a mouse colour, doesn't it? Like a nice noble turquoise. Yeah, something like that, but a bit more pow. Like this. Gosh, that looks good. The back should definitely be brown though. Or if not brown, then a darker shade of this green. Yeah, maybe like a painted like that, and move it more towards green for a bit of shadow. How does that look? Does that look good? Yeah, that looks nice. Even though, why would they really paint the back of a shield? But whatevs. And then I think the middle bit needs to have a nice bit of gold, and then we'll make that gold the same colour as the pommel of the sword. So gold's nice and easy to do. You just drag yourself out a nice yellow. Boom. 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 Nice. So we'll do the cross guard and the pommel the same colour. That looks like a classic cartoon sword, doesn't it? So we'll do that. Oops. I'll change the colour of the teeth on the snake, I think, but the rest of it's fine. I just need to change that to like an off-white with yellow rather than an off-white with grey, like I did before. And the way you get steel is you go slightly blue, silver. Something like that. Looks decent enough. Crack, crack. Looks a little bit magical. It's reflecting all the blue-green of the environment. Da Vinci Goel, hello, welcome. How you doing? Bam. And there is our mouse. That looks dope. Ka-ching! Ding! 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 Yeah, let's quickly change the colour of the teeth on our snaky boy. I think they just need to be... This shade of grey is fine, but they need to be yellow. Yellowy fang bone rather than this like greyish colour. Oops. There you go. Looks great. Cool, so now it'll be on to the background. Ahmet Damra, welcome to the live stream. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, let's do the background, shall we? Start with the... that was a very bitter sip of tea there. Oh my god, Jonathan Wolf, please don't call me Tip Dad. It's weird, but I kind of love it. Cool. So we've got our mouse, we've got our Schnecky. We can hide. Where's our mouse rough? Oh, I converted it, didn't I? So I can delete snake rough, or I can at least cut the layers of snake rough because they are inside my symbol here. So that's fine. And then inside our mouse symbol, we have the hidden layers for that too, which is good. So now I can just grab all these layers and pop them inside a folder. Call them char. For characters, oh no, you can't do that because it's got a word assigned to it. Pop all these inside a folder to call it sketch. And then we've got foreground. So let's do all these foreground elements and let's do it with black lines for now. And we can select all of these and just make them like a lighter grey. Hide the other two, lock all those layers. And now we've got a nice foreground selection to start drawing, which is great. So we will give ourselves the single layer to work on. Hit B, give ourselves a black pen. Great, good job. Is Adobe Photoshop good for animation? Yes, if you get an extension called Animating 2 that makes it great for frame-by-frame animation. Frankly. Without it, though, it's a bit shit. So my goal for here is just to tread a bit lightly on the black lines. And draw more of a textured, detailed outline, because this won't move, so we can afford to have a bit more detail. If you know what I mean. If you smell what I'm stepping in, as a friend of mine used to say. I wasn't going to do this on live stream today, but we've got the time. So I figure, why the hell not? We'll see if we can't at least ink the backgrounds. Looks pretty good. So to make a nice contrast between the flowing of the grass and the rigidness of the mud that it's stuck in, you just flick your pen as opposed to making flowing motions like we did with the grass. And that just allows you to carve in these kind of rocky out sections of the mud. Then you fill in the rest off screen. Wash. You grab a green, maybe a similar green to the snake. Maybe a more plant coloured green. And you change it to close small gaps. And you fill it in. But that closes too many small gaps. So what does that do? What's this? Expand to fill? No, I don't care about that. B, object. K, fill. Tool, don't close gaps. Find out where the gap is, and you can do that by just hiding your sketch. If you set your paintbrush to paint behind, then you can just fix any small gaps that might be breaking your fill, like there, for example. grab the green, change it to a nice red for the petals. Maybe actually just do a few different colors on the petals. So hue shift him a little bit, darken him up. There you go. That looks nice. You're still waiting frame by frame perspective camera tutorial. Yeah, well, I just released an entire animation series, episodes 1 through 9, so I had to finish that before I could start any others. I'm sorry you had to wait, but that's the way it is. I can't do two things at once. There is only one of me. I'm sorry that you had to wait. I'm trying my best. So you can just rub out a section there. I'm just going to move this over because I haven't decided which one of these sections I want to make into a gradient, but I will make one of them into a gradient using the same green. So you do that by going to Window, Color, like this, changing it from a solid color to a linear gradient, sampling the green and changing the other to a slightly darker one. Add that to your swatches, and then in your swatches panel you can just select a patch of grass, go to your newly formed swatch, go to your free transform tool and go to the gradient transform tool and select both and kind of fix it. Like so. I don't think I want it on that section though. I think I definitely want it on the darker section. So you select all of them. Go to your gradient that you just made. Bosh. Gradient selection tool. Make that bit just pretty much fully green, with a little bit of darkness creeping in, and then pull the darkness more over there. Grab your selection tool, bring it back in. And line it back up. Bosh. There you go. You've got some shading on your grass. Maybe it needs to face the other way. Thinking about it. Yeah, that looks much better. How much do you think about camera movement? Yes, I know the tutorial. I will make it. I said I would. I've just been releasing a lot of tutorials recently, and I need to make it. I'm sorry it wasn't fast enough. I think I will just grab a nice grey for these sections here. And if I go to my color window again, add that brown to my swatches so that when I go to my linear gradient I can grab it again, darken him up, and adjust that. Like so. Nice, there's a tuft of graphs for us. Muddy, the name of this app is Adobe Animate 2021. Redex Superior, welcome to the live stream. Political Psychology, welcome to the live stream. Thank you both for being such lovely members. Yes, and Redex, you do have the blue badge. Good man, thank you so much for supporting me. It's very kind of you. Very kind indeed, my friend. Cool, so the rest of this stuff is going to be larger blades of grass. Just coming down off the corners of the screen. Just going to give myself a little cap so that I can easily colour the rest of this when I get around there to it. So I think we'll be working on a little tutorial next that's going to cover that dynamic motion stuff. And it'll be mostly about how to move, how to draw as if you're flying a camera around an object to add dynamism to a scene. So it's not actually going to be using the camera tool, it's just going to all be drawings. Hopefully people will find it useful. I certainly did when I learned it. It's just a technique, a way of thinking about things that will help you wrap your head around dynamic motion, dynamic camera motion. God, it's hard to talk and do these like flowing grass bits at the same time. Sorry about that, everyone. I'm nearly done. Don't worry. There we go. There's the grass bits at least. We do the same thing with the dirt, where we just draw with more hard straight lines as opposed to curves. And adding in some details there. Channel of Innovation, welcome to the live stream. Thank you for being such a big fan. Glad you enjoy my tutorials, friend. Oh, god damn it, I knew that wouldn't work. Where did I balls that up then? Somewhere around here, it would seem. Yeah, there it is. Bosh, nice. Bosh, 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 bosh. Bosh, 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 bosh. Nice. So that's a good amount of green, so I can then just select, compress, rotate, etc. until I get a color that I'm relatively happy with, and a gradient I'm relatively happy with, which I am there. Then I'm going to just copy, or rather I'm just going to select everything, shift him out of the way. Oh no, I left it in place and it's like messed up that bit. God damn it. Oh no, now it's frozen a little bit. Oh no. Oh no. Oh, I was lucky. Okay, let's save. Remembered Milt Carl's statement. What statement was that? Did I just quote Milk Carl without realizing I was actively quoting Milk Carl? I bet that happens a lot. Milk Carl's a fucking genius. What I'll do instead is select and copy. Copy, paste on a new layer, lock and hide that original layer, and then this one I will just select green. This green, there we go. And we can chop off certain bits of grass. By just erasing half of these sections of leaf. Can't multitask while drawing. Yeah. Oh yeah. When he said, do you listen to music whilst animating? And he's like, hell no, I'm not smart enough to do 2 things at once. And here's me doing 3. Drawing, talking, and live streaming, which is probably why my animations are so shit. Yeah, Milk Carl's a boy. Any advice he gave during his life is fantastic advice for animators. Right, this should work pretty okay. If I just select and remove all of these sections and then bosh. There we go. Now we got some decent enough looking highlights. Maybe get rid of these ones because they don't really need them there. But yeah, that looks pretty good. Alright, and then we can just select this color by unlocking this layer. We can cut this, stick it back on the same layer with paste in place. Grab our dark brown, fill in our dark brown, grab our greyish stone color, whatever that is. This one. Crop. Bosh. And gradient's already pretty good, to be fair. What if I just rotate it a little like that? Boom. There we go. Nice. Hello, simple questions answered. Thank you for being such a fan. What music am I playing? All sorts. It's on a playlist on the channel if you search for lo-fi. I uploaded it recently. The whole playlist is up there. When you said it's hard to while drawing, I remembered Milton Rich's conversation. Yeah, such a great book, The Animated Survival Kit. Banging book. Really good book. I love it. So we've got our foreground now. We can hit F8 on all that content so that we don't accidentally select and delete a whole bunch of it. So F8, and we can just call that 4. Bosh. Nice. Midground is all the puddles and stuff, and the background are just these trees and everything. So let's quickly do the background, which is essentially, I think, just going to be a very dark brown, perhaps a dark with a hint of green. We'll call this one Budge. And make sure it's not in the sketch layer, which it's not. We'll draw out a nice rectangle. Get rid of any of that. And then it's just going to be a case of getting a slightly darker, or perhaps slightly brighter. I haven't decided yet. Let's make it slightly brighter and slightly greener. Fill color. Come on. Open up. Thank you. Slightly brighter, slightly greener fill color. Changing to paint selected. And going through. And just drawing some random shapes that kind of act a little bit like how you'd expect tree trunks to act. Okay. Let's hide our back sketch layer too. And we've got this guy now that we can draw on and fill in with our paint bucket. Some of these random shapes. And it doesn't have to be terribly accurate because it's all going to be behind stuff anyway, so who cares? There we go. Background done. Easy mode. Let's turn on the middle ground because that's what we're actually going to be using. Miriam Yee, welcome to the live stream. Glad you like it. Probably going to have to split this mid ground into two sections. The floor, the puddles, and the wall. So let's do that. Now, again, I don't know if I want... Do I want... Let's do the walls. Because that's going to be the easiest bit. That's just going to be two shapes. Oops, I'm on paint selection mode still. Two shapes hidden by the grass anyway. So let's fill those in. 1. And 2. Which we can then select. Go to this guy. Rotate our gradient so it goes from dark to light. So there's our dirt, okay? Gonna keep this one nice and simple, I think, because we've got loads of detail in the front anyway. So we'll just grab our grass, and on top of that, we'll just come in and add a few tufts and things. This is going to be way in the background. So, Lord knows I ain't wasting my time on it. And I'll probably come back through and adjust the shapes of the adjust the colours of the snake and stuff too, now that I look at it. Gosh. So there is our wall and our background, which needs to be below the floor, and the puddles need to be above the floor. So let's do that. Okay. So we'll just grab our background, lower him down a bit, show our foreground too. And here's a cool thing, right? I go to my wall and I'm like, I don't really like the colors of that. I can hit F8, turn it into a symbol, call it wall. Go to our color effects and go to tint. And say we want it to tint a little bit more dark green. Or maybe not tint, maybe advanced, which gives us red, green, blue. So we can just suck some of the color out until we get something we're a little bit more happy with, essentially. Same thing for the background, F8. Color effects. advanced. Get something we're a little bit more happy with. There we go. So let's leave the mid visible because we'll need some puddles and some other things. But for the floor, I think we will just grab our brown color, or maybe it's gonna be like a sand, like a sandy outcropping. That's probably a good idea, right? So maybe we can have like a sandy color, and we'll pop the floor below the walls so that we don't have to worry about the edges. Again, nice neat trick there. Don't have to worry about the edges if you pop the floor below the wall like that. And then puddles and rocks. We can do by just grabbing our masks, pasting them in place, locking them back up again so you can't see it. And I'm not sure what to do for these, whether or not, well, let's find out, right? We can probably hide the mid layer for now so it's slightly less distracting. Let's select our puddle rocks layers, let's make them blue. Okay, and then let's change the alpha to like 80% so they're a little bit see-through, maybe 60%. Okay, now that lets some of the light shine through underneath, which means that if I go to my floor layer and I add a layer on top and I call it floor deets, if I were then to grab my sand, make it a bit nicer like this, and start adding in details, you should see them, right? Then that'll look good. So let's do that. Let's add the mid in. And we'll just start adding in some details. Okay. If you want to, go back to your puddles layer, your eyedropper, that color. And now I can just add in extra puddles with all those details underneath. Got our floor details layer, so we'll just, and the reason you can keep it all separate then is that it's more controllable later on, you know. For example, I might want to add a stick here in a sec, so I'll add a shadow for that. Do the same thing here, add a shadow for that stick that we're going to add. Some shadows for the rocks and things. And what I might even do is just around our puddle. Oops, I accidentally filled in the wrong layer there. Just add in some nice details that make it look a bit more ingrained in the world. We add noise here or post in AE? In After Effects, visual noise, yes. I love a bit of visual noise, you know me. And you can't really, you can do it in Animate with like overlay layers brought in from other software, but if you're going to bring it in from other software, why not just do it in the other software is my point. You pay for the suite, so why not use the whole suite? And this also acts as a little bit like the snake's shadow and stuff too, so that works fine for me. I'm not sure I need these branches, but we shall see whether or not I keep them. Floor details layer back there, just to add in our little shaded. So this kind of implies that it gets deeper, yeah? If that makes sense. And I'm rushing a little bit because I'd like to I mean, I can carry on past this because my wife's out today, so that's good. What I'll do is I'll add a new layer on top, and we'll just do rocks on this one. I'm going to have the same grey that I used here on this layer. Is that the same one? No, that's not correct. The foreground's not locked. Why is it not? Ah, it's because it's a symbol. I'm an idiot. I want to grab that grey. Nice. And we'll start the rocks off with that grey. So zoom in a bit. And I'm just going to fill in all the rocks, and then we'll come back and add in some shading. Maybe back here I won't need to add shade. I can just do a few little details and things. Maybe on some of the bigger ones. Yeah, let's add in those twigs because it will look good, I think. But what we can do for the rocks is select off so that you're not colouring anything accidentally. Hue shift a tiny bit, add in a shade, select everything on the layer, close it down, go to your tool, paint selection, and then you'll be able to colour in, oops, by just adding zigzags to these rocks where you want the colour break to be. Maybe add it on a couple of them, a couple of these bigger ones definitely, like this. Nice. Now I can probably hide the middle layer for now, and bam bam, there we go. Come around and just fill in both of those there. Come around and just add in some shading, bosh bosh bosh, on those rocks. Great, looking good. Do I need that branch? Yes, probably. Let's do it by just taking the dark brown colour here, adding a layer on top of that, calling it branch. Oops, make sure I'm on paint normal. Fill that guy in. I don't think it needs the leaf though. We won't do the leaf. So you can do it like that, and then you do a similar sort of thing, but you just go a shade darker. Bit like that. Select it, hide it. Go to Tools, Paint Selection, and kind of just draw in the edges of your shapes here. And we'll just extend that to ensure it continues out. Fill in those darker portions. Bit like that. And I think that might be it, apart from our snake colour, which I'm not super duper happy with. So let's take this green, see if we can't just choose the lighter green. See if we can't find something here that we are happy with. Maybe that one. Ooh, maybe it needs to be like, I want it to be a single colour because I can't bother to paint the details on it. But maybe it needs to be like a scary red. No. What colour for the snake do you think? Or do you think the snake looks good? I don't know. Does the snake look good? Let's put it into After Effects and see what we think. Yeah, let's do that. So what we can do is go to our publish settings. Optimize for After Effects, yes. Include hidden layers, no. Hit OK, publish, OK. Now let's open up After Effects and add some noise and do some color adjustments and stuff there. So what I can do is I can actually just grab my snake here, go to Color Effects, Advanced, and do things like reduce these colors until I get something that I like and prefer. Maybe add more blue in, a bit more red, like that. How does that look? Does that look good? Yeah, that looks much better. Crush. Oh, that for some reason there. Oh, it's because I do actually have a different color on these frames. That was silly of me, wasn't it? Let's select that guy. Yeah, cool. That looks good. All right, save. Save this. Let's go to a new After Effects window. Bear with me a moment, and we'll add some quick noise to this to finish it up, I think. Although I definitely want to adjust this background here just to tweak him a little bit. There you go. Much better. Right, so let's save that. Then if I drag out After Effects, what I should be able to do is import the entire FLA file. So let's do that. Go to Livestream Archives, 2020. The mouse and the snake. Import. See how long that takes. Probably a while, knowing After Effects. Knowing After Effects and Flash. Maybe it'll crash even. So in fact what we can probably do is let's add a layer. No, let's add a camera. And just see what wiggle room we've got. For a little bit of wobbly wobbly. That's good. And then just because I enjoy suffering, grab my foreground layer, go to my layer depth, maintain size. Let's put it at like negative 50, so it's a bit closer to the camera. No, let's make it even more. Let's make it like that much. Let's maintain size and negative 200. Nice. That looks okay. Let's see if unable to save it. Because it has finally loaded, or is loading rather, into. Let's cancel that import. Let's save it again. Let's import it again. Mouse and the snake, yes. Preparing import, sure. Import it in. Nice. And now we've got a composition with all of our separate layers and stuff, which is great. So we can hide mid and back. Yep. And 4, wherever that's gone. Nice. Can play it. That looks fucking dope. Crash. I'm not sure I like the camera movement, but we'll leave it in for now. Okay. So now we can just go to Control-Alt-Y for a new adjustment layer. Add in an amount of noise. Let's say 10% noise. That looks pretty dope. We don't want color noise. We just want it to be black and white. Then we add as well, on top of that, a turbulent displace. And we crank the size down to minimum and the complexity up. And we turn up the amount until we get something that we like, which is usually around 50, I think, for me. When the document's this size. Maybe a 30. Gives it a little bit of roughness. Maybe a 20. That looks nice. Let's add a new solid. How did I upload a video while streaming? Oh, it was already uploaded. It was scheduled. Don't you worry. Don't you worry. Good sir. I'm going to go to my ellipse tool. I'm going to double click it, which gives me a vignette. Hit subtract. Feather it. Reduce the opacity of it. 40% maybe. Change it to color burn. It looks a little bit nicer there. Nice. Let's add a new adjustment layer. Control-Alt-Y. Lens blur. Blur radius, we'll crank it. Repeat edge pixels to get rid of that halo, hopefully. I did, yeah. I was expected to be done at 2 o'clock, but I ran over a little bit doing this. So again, double click the circle, which should make a mask for us. On this layer, change the mask to subtract. Feather out the mask by quite a bit, and that should blur the edges of our screen. And then adjust the path. So that only the very tips and corners are blurred. I'm not sure if I'll keep this bit, but we'll see. And I can see what that looks like. Let's save this as well whilst we're working on it. The mouse and the snake. Tomats. TipTut, Livestream Archives, 2020. The mouse and the snake. Save. Boom. Looks okay. Got a little bit of haze there around the edges from that glow. So let's go to our project, the mouse and the snake. Open up Media Encoder and export this damn thing. Will you add effects animation to the sword? Nah. I'm done with this now. I'm done. Composition. Add to Adobe Media Encoder render queue. Could add a few sparks, I suppose, to the sword, but nah. I don't fancy it. Let's open up Adobe Media Encoder. Oh, you guys are going to get a bit of buffering. Might be freaking out a little bit right now. But let's render and see what happens. This might absolutely nuke my PC. We shall have to see. See if it crashes it out or not. It's only a second, right? So it can't do too much damage. Oh, Can't do too much damage. Ah, it's not going to take too long. Oh, a couple of minutes. Perfect. Ooh, it's weird cold. Shouldn't have forgotten about it. Ah, so that was a lovely little live stream experience. It's now starting to freak out and slow down, but it's getting there. It's getting there. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. I think I'm gonna quite like the final result. I like the reflections in the puddles. I like that a lot. I think we did well there. And then next week we'll be working on the Game Grumps Animated, which should be fun. Not quite as detailed as this, but that's a good thing, I suppose, at the moment. Am I tired? Yeah, do I look tired? Why are you saying? I've got huge bags under my eyes. It's also the shadows, like casting huge bags under my eyes and stuff as well. Brilliant, we're done. Oh my god, let's have a look. Let's close down some of this stuff so it doesn't freak out as much. Okay, you ready? I'm just going to try and scale him in a little bit. Bosh, there we go. Well, ladies and germs, there you have it. Our progress. Not gonna lie, I'm pretty stoked. Things I would add, if I had the inclination: ripples to the puddles, definitely, and a little clang effect on the sword as he hits the snake. So maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll do that, and then this is going straight in my portfolio because I fucking love this. This is great. Well done, me. Alright, I think that'll do for this time around. So thank you very much for watching, everybody. I really do appreciate it. Hopefully I'll see you guys in the new year. Hopefully you have a lovely New Year's Eve as much as you can during these troubling times. And yes, much love to you all. You're all lovely people. Maybe Sharma says, wish to animate and draw stuff like you soon in the coming year. Thanks a ton for mentoring us and sharing your knowledge and elevating us through a crazy 2020. Oh, thank you so much, Maybe Sharma. I try my best. I'm here for you guys. Hopefully you've learnt a few things in 2020. Hopefully I'll teach you a few more things in 2021. Who knows? Maybe. Thanks very much, everyone. Really appreciate you watching. Really love it. Thank you so much. And I love you all. Goodbye.